You're listening to a Comics XF podcast.
X-Men. Get it!
Hey everyone, and welcome to another exciting episode of Battle of the Atom. This is your weekly X-Men podcast where we rank every story from A to Z.
I'm Adam.
And I am the bad boy of X-Men podcasting. It's Zach. What's up? I'm a werewolf. It's wearing skin. Werewolf skin man. Skin boy werewolf. CB Spolsky last year at New York Comic Con called me Marvel Special Boy or something like that. Whatever. We're tired. We're tired because we've had a long week. Adam, would you like to inform the folks of what you've been doing all week?
So, folks, we're a little bit late with this episode because I've been sick. But I was well enough.
And then I forgot.
No. We're good. But I was well enough to get to New York Comic Con this weekend and just got back last night. Was just there for 2 days. And so that's tiring. I don't know, but here we are. We're podcasting.
We're not having an NYCC episode just because, look, man, it's a lot. It's a busy show for everybody. Things happen. But what we do have is the hottest thing that was going on at New York Comic Con. And Adam, I think you'll agree with this.
Yeah.
Crossovers are so hot. The Fortnitification of this world is... We all want that multiverse to come in here and bring all of our favorite characters together and have them interact in what is generally some of the worst and most uninspired art that could exist.
I mean, well, like you do have some of these things that are just corporate synergy, right? Like the 100th Godzilla attacks the Marvel Universe stuff. But I will hand it to DC for doing some pretty inspired stuff. You know, DC's crossing over with AEW. DC is crossing over with Something is Killing the Children. Vampirella, apparently.
Okay. Hold on. The Vampirella thing, I think I have a weird line here, and here's my line, Adam.
Yeah.
I actively despise the Vampirella and Sub-Zero from Mortal Kombat, and all these guys are in this big DC event thing. I viciously hate that, and yet also I, as you and me discussed off mic, deeply charmed by the idea of Swamp Thing is killing the children.
There's some clever ideas going on here, yeah. But we are talking about intercompany crossovers with X-Men stuff this week, and we dug up some really interesting stuff. It does seem after the Image Exodus that there was a real reconsideration, especially in the mid-90s, of what Marvel's priorities should be in terms of tapping back into the same market. And
they really wanted sales. They really wanted sales.
Yeah, I mean, it's not a good time for Marvel, so it makes sense that there is a rich library of stuff, especially around this time, like 95, 96, of Marvel crossing over its characters with especially the Image stuff, even though one of these is not an Image crossover.
We'll talk about that one in a bit. That one is a Marvel is literally going to go bankrupt and someone wanted to use Wolverine in a thing. Fine.
Yes.
Like they're going to go bankrupt a second time.
Yes, 100%.
Opening that one. That one's going to be...
So we've already covered a long time ago Wildcats X-Men. We've already covered Youngblood X-Force. So these are some that are a little bit lesser known. And we are starting this week with, I think, a hidden gem that folks might not be aware of. And that is Deathblow and Wolverine from 1996.
Deathblow and Wolverine, the Eisner Award nominated crossover.
Yeah, written and penciled by Aaron Weissenfeld with Richard Bennett on inks and colors by Monica Bennett. It is a standalone 2-issue miniseries that was published by Image, and it features some of the most gorgeous and intricate art that I've seen in a comic in a good while. Aaron
Yeah.
Weisenfeld is an interesting guy who got his start with Wildstorm, doing some artwork for the Team 7 book that looks, I would say, kind of Silvestri-esque.
Hmm.
He's in that Jim Lee like look-alike kind of thing. Here, he has gone on to be, interestingly enough, a fine art painter of
Yeah.
some esteem, work featured in galleries around the world, some very high profile celebrity fans of his, including Guillermo del Toro.
He's got. I was looking at his fine artwork. His oils his oils are truly moody and like expressive and have a sense of perspective to them. Like it's it's good stuff that he is doing in the fine art world, and I am happy for his continued success.
I am too. And when you say the word perspective, that is the word that really jumps to mind, especially with the first of these 2 issues, because right out the gate, we are treated to this absolutely beautiful 2-page spread of Wolverine launching into the air over a hill of San Francisco. And we see the entire panorama of the city below as objects are flying out of his like shopping bag off the top back of his bike. The amount of detail here is like akin to a Jeff Darrow drawing.
Like Weisenfeld is truly incredible throughout this series. Like I had read this before,
Uh-huh.
but I believe I had read this in a like chunk of I got a lot of stuff at a quarter bin, kind of like get rid of our backstock selection thing. And I did not appreciate how freaking beautiful this comic is. Like it was Eisner nominated because it looks incredible.
Yeah, it's a very interesting look. I mentioned Jeff Darrow, who often does these really hyper detailed drawings. And one of the things that a lot of comic artists get in trouble with is backgrounds. You
Mhm.
don't see a lot of framing to show where characters are and what they're doing. And one of the things that's so unique about this book is that it's not just bland backgrounds. This is like straight up architecture. There's not just a window next to, like Wolverine flies out of a window. It's not just some rectangles, in perspective. There are individual arches of bricks with, cracks and stucco on the wall. And you can see every little pane of glass that's falling out into the sky. There's a level of place with every single page here that is just something you don't see on a regular basis in comics.
I think the other thing that should be highlighted is Monica Bennett's use of color in here.
Yes.
It is a limited and distinct palette.
Mhm.
Uh, it is a lot of lighter tones. It is almost giving a watercolor feel to what is, pencil and ink and some digital colors. But oh my gosh, it is something that I was shocked to see from 1996 because no one was doing that.
No, it is very washed out. Like you said, it feels like very pale watercolors. The second issue is a little bit bolder in terms of the color application, but it matches what Weisenfeld and Bennett are putting down on the page so well, and really lets the line work shine in a way that, a lot of color, especially in this era, is much more obtrusive, and a lot more interested in lots of flashy Photoshop effects. And this is not interested in that.
Now, something that our readers, our listeners may not be interested in, that I think someone on this podcast should give some context to is our co-lead of this story, Deathblow. Adam, what can you tell our people about Deathblow, a character we all know and think about on a regular basis?
Deathblow is an interesting byproduct of Jim Lee's overactive and Brandon Choi's overactive creativity in the early 90s. The character's real name is Michael Cray. He is a former Special Forces op from a team called Team 7, which we will talk a little bit more about in a few minutes. But Deathblow, as introduced in Darker Image, and then later in his own solo series, is a terminal cancer or some kind of disease patient who's trying to make up for the wrongs that he did as a soldier of fortune, and gets involved in some really weird story involving like the coming of an antichrist. So lots of Catholic imagery. It's also the period of time, if you were around during this period, you might remember that Jim Lee was really trying to do Sin City. Like the inking that he's doing on his own pencils is really trying to evoke Frank Miller's Sin City. And it's a really weird look for Jim, and what it is that he's trying to do. I remember an interview from around this time that Jim was saying that he was very influenced by reading the book Rogue Warrior by Richard Marcinko, who was one of the first Navy SEALs, if not the first Navy SEAL, to actually write a memoir about the experience of the training and all of that stuff. So a lot of that goes into the story of this character. Everything I just said means nothing, and you don't need to know any of that, because here he's basically just a large man with a lot of guns who's going to help Wolverine.
This did not need to be a crossover. This could have been literally any Wolverine comic where he finds, because Wolverine runs into large men with many guns, like
yes,
like nobody's business. Wolverine can find large man, many guns.
Yes,
he can do it. We know he can. That is a specialty of his. He's the best at what he does, and what he does is find large man with many gun. I've got nothing for Deathblow.
He's a non-character here. He's just a big man with guns. So there's not a lot going on.
And it's not, I want to be clear. The guns aren't big. Like they're big in terms of, he's a big man. The guns are regular guns. Yes. Like they are larger than I would want walking around in my neighborhood, but they are normal gun.
Yes. But Wolverine does need Deathblow's help here because the city is being invaded by a group of eternal ninjas that live in a pot. Is that right? Eternal ninjas that live in a pot. These are the fiercest warriors of their time, and they are.
Okay, so here's the story of this.
Yeah.
I was texting Adam about this. And what I said is, man, this art is so gorgeous. Like, I can't believe I am in shock. It is almost enough for me to overlook the fact that this story is pretty much just Wolverine Soul Taker. It's
not Soul Taker, which we did talk about on the Akira Yoshida episode recently, but it's also not that. I think is what I said to you.
It's close enough to Soul Taker for all of us to be like,
It's easier to ignore. Because what Weisenfeld is absolutely doing is channeling the amazing physicality of the ninja characters that are on attack. And it's very much channeling the Elektra Lives Again, Frank Miller stuff.
See, I thought you were just going to say that what he was doing was writing under his own name.
I don't think any pseudonyms were used in this particular comic book.
No, he spells Aaron insane. He spells Aaron like the Pokemon. You all know the Pokemon I'm talking about. The little steel boy that turns into a big steel boy.
This Aaron is not an Aaron. He's an Aaron. So there's that.
Don't make him mad. He'll become an Aggron. That's the Pokemon that
I love it.
he ends up evolving into.
Well, we do get introduced to Wolverine's girlfriend of this time period. This takes place in 1982. Is that right? Did I get that right?
I'll be honest.
Yes,
I don't remember.
1982.
I'm not looking that up. It was in the past.
Yeah, 1982. Just double checked. And Wolverine is dating this woman named Sung Lee. Really great sequence where Sung Lee's worried that her mom is not remembering her name, and they go to her apartment, and the mom essentially tries to kill them after serving them up some cookies, and then it's full on ninja attack time for like the rest of the issue.
Yeah, it is all out action. I'll say Weisenfeld knows when to just pull back and trust that his art is going to communicate everything it needs. He does not overwrite on these pages, and that's fantastic. The second issue, I would say, gets a lot more plot heavy.
Yes.
And I get lost with it because it turns out Sunlee is actually the librarian. She's a mystical curator, and she was actually orchestrating all of this. So something
without her actually Logan being aware of it. She's the person that controls these souls from escaping and needs Wolverine and Deathblow to help get them basically back, get the genie back in the bottle. I don't think the art is as clean in the second issue. And like I said, the colors are a little bit more vibrant and take away from the line work, but there's still some really incredible action sequences here. Aaron draws Wolverine in the spirit of Barry Windsor Smith with an absolutely insane mane of hair and a giant nose. He gets
his Wolverine looks like a little ugly man.
Yeah. He gets that Wolverine is this little tiny like rascal and that Deathblow is this giant with the guns.
Hey folks, so it's a few days later. Nothing bad happened.
No.
We just as we have gotten older, our lives have gotten more complicated, and we were unable to finish recording anymore. Which means this episode is now grossly late, and both of us feel terrible about it. Oh well. I'm Zach still. Adam's still here.
Yeah, hey. So like I did listen up to what we did record the other night, and I think we had just finished talking about how the second issue of Deathblow Wolverine is not quite as good as the first one, but still very good. And we love the way Aaron Weisenfeld draws Wolverine as sort of this Barry Windsor Smith little fluffy guy of rage. But I think it might be best just to jump to ranking, given what has been happening with this show. We gotta keep it going.
This episode's never going to come out. We've been trying, which is shocking. So we're just going to move on to the big old list here. Sorry, if there are folks who were really excited for like a perfect in-depth conversation about Wolverine Deathblow, this ain't it.
Listen, we did a nice job. There was a good chunk of conversation about it that we recorded like 18 minutes on Saturday. So,
and I believe you. It's just I have our mutual friend Robert Secundus will sometimes text me things that I said during the podcast, and I'm like, Rob, that seems like a point I would make. I don't recall. That was 4 days ago. There's nothing up here anymore. We are going to rank this, though. That's the thing that we do on this podcast. We rank every X-Men story from best to worst. We have ranked, Adam, can you guess the number?
1,083 stories.
That's too many X-Men comics. Too many.
Wow.
We've been doing this for too long. 1,083 unique X-Men stories. Ranked from best to worst. At number one, we have House of X Powers of 10, a good comic. At number 250, we have that Bendis Morph issue from Uncanny, number 14. That's pretty good.
I like that episode. I like that. That's good.
I like that one. It's got a good cover. It's fun. Number 500 is Tales of Suspense 49. That's an Iron Man issue.
Hmm.
Number 750 is the time that Dazzler went to Carnegie Hall, Dazzler 21. Number 1000 is Young X-Men number 7. And number 1083 is 2099 World of Tomorrow, the worst X-Men comic of all time. So I think this is better than that Iron Man comic. I am going to say something, Adam.
Yeah.
At 400 is Max Widdett's Gene and Scott. If my gut's like, is this better than that?
I think this is better than that, but it's not as good as Hearts of Darkness at 374.
Hearts of Darkness wasn't an Eisner nominated comic, which I don't know what the Eisners in 1992 looked like.
What do you think about Larry? So 398.
I now have to know what the Eisners were like in 1992. Best single issue or story. It was from Sandman, whatever.
Okay.
Continuing story, Sandman, finite series, not Sandman. Mouse won an award. That's hard to argue. Hard to argue that Mouse 2 probably is better than
Wolverine Deathblow. Yeah, I think that's
no. This is compared to the Ghost Rider one. I just wanted to see. To see what people were like. No, this is not.
Yeah, I think we could argue that Mouse 2 is better than Hearts of Darkness. But I don't think this is better than Hearts of Darkness. But I do think it's better than Spider-Man and the X-Men 1 and 2 at 387.
There used to be an Eisner Award for, and I'm not joking, best comics related product.
Oh, really? Okay.
One of the.
What did that go to?
Hey, hold on. A Sandman statue, which is insane.
Okay.
Hold on. Do you know what one of the things that was? This is insane to me. One of the things that was best comics related product.
Yeah.
Love and Rockets by Jamie Hernandez.
What do you mean? The comic book Love and Rockets?
My man, I'm giving you all the information I have.
That's strange. That's just a comic book.
It's
a very good comic book.
In fact, I would bet most people should put Love and Rockets above many. Oh my gosh. Okay.
Strange.
Hey, I keep trying. I haven't gotten into Love and Rockets.
Oh no.
I own all of it. I got it in a Humble Bundle years ago. I've tried it. I think the completionist in me has to die, and I have to just be like, I'm going to do one set of stories.
I think it would be, healthy to like skip a chunk from the beginning, and get into like a little bit like deeper into the mythos. I
understand comics to know that that's actually the right way to do things, but then there's the other part of me that's like, but I could read all of it.
I've never read
and not like it. No. Okay, you're right. Okay, back to this. Not as good as Hearts of Darkness. Not as good as a lot of comics. I was thinking of Brood Trouble in the Big Easy, which is also not better than not Hearts of Darkness. That's on me. That's why I was fixated on 1992, Adam.
Is this better or worse than the Ecstatic arc where they tried but did not bring back Princess Di? 386.
It's probably better than that. Though I did see the original art with Princess Di.
It's pretty good.
If Princess Di's actually in this, that comic goes up at least 300 spots.
Yeah, I agree. This is not as good as a 383 Uncanny 195. It was a dark and stormy night.
This is probably better than the Larry Bodine issue.
Yeah, I think it probably is. So
that first issue looks really good, guys. Like there's nothing of substance in this comic, to be fair. But it is an artistic treat.
Yes.
And that puts us at 384. It's Wolverine and Deathblow 1 and 2. Hey, talk about substance and a lack thereof. Adam, do you know what the next comic on our list is?
Yes, we are talking about another crossover from 1996 because there's a lot of these, as we mentioned earlier. This is Team X/Team 7. Looks like it's co-published by Marvel Comics and Image Comics. This is written by none other than Larry Hama, penciled by Steve Epting, and inked by Klaus Janson. Wild team here.
Great team. Here's the thing.
Yeah.
Larry Hama, absolutely no one better in the world to write the comic that is essentially Wolverine as a G.I. Joe teaming up with Jim Lee wanting to do G.I. Joe with his own characters.
Oh, 100%. I think I mentioned earlier this idea that Lee and Choi were very inspired by Richard Marcinko's Rogue Warrior, and nowhere does that get more on display than when they do this Team 7 stuff, which is essentially like the early version of a lot of different Wildstorm characters in a Navy SEAL team. So for folks who don't know what Team 7 is, it's a team of SEALs that is made up of John Lynch, the guy who helped mentor Gen 13. Deathblow is here. Jackson Dane, who goes on to Wetworks in Will Sportacio's Wetworks. Cole Cash, who we all know is Grifter.
Grifter, the good character. The good one.
Yes. At points in Team 7's chronology, the Brett Blevins character Backlash is on the team. He's not here, but we also have Philip Chang, who's like a telepath or something. And then, of course,
Volunteer.
And then, of course, we get Team X, which is Logan, Sabretooth, Maverick, and John Wraith.
Okay, here's the thing about Team X. I feel like Team X is an underutilized concept.
It's kind of fun.
I know that we love it because it's in the Omega Red thing. But what Team X does is it gives Wolverine a little something different to do, and also lets him pair up with the ultimate wild card in Victor Creed, pair up with Maverick, who people love. Dudes love Maverick. Yeah. And also reminds us every single time that Will.i.am from the Black Eyed Peas played John Wraith in a movie once.
Yes. Oh, man.
I'll be honest, anytime somebody in a X-Men movie from, let's just say, any time complains like their character didn't get enough attention to screen time or loyalty, I'm like, you played John Wraith. Hold on. Like, again, I'm sympathizing with you, but you played John Wraith.
My God.
Hey, Charlie from Lost, you played Bolt. Okay, can I tell you? I don't know if we've had this conversation on this podcast, but can I tell you what I think is insane about this movie?
We have, but just remind everybody again.
It's that Charlie from Lost plays Bolt.
Yes.
And another guy plays Agent Zero, who is David North, who is
Maverick.
Doesn't look like doesn't wear Maverick's mask, which is the one thing you have to do. Bolt is Maverick's son.
Yeah.
Not in this movie.
They didn't do the homework on that one. I will say
the X-Men movies, they didn't do the homework and they did not care. No. They got a Wikipedia list and they got a list of superpowers and they said this one. I hate that when actual comic book writers do it, because I'm not going to name names, but some of them who may be writing larger X-Men books right now seem to do that on a whim. Unlike my beloved Steve Orlando, who's doing this out of an immense amount of respect and love for the dumbest characters ever. Sometimes characters seem to be pulled out of a wiki page, but I find that charming in the movies because Fox did not care, even a little bit. It wasn't pretending to care. They just didn't care. Anyway, Will.i.am's terrible in that movie.
You know,
I can't tell which characters are on Team 7 in this movie.
You know what's not terrible is this comic book. I will say
it's not terrible.
It should be an absolute mess. And if you have a comic book where you're assigned, you have to put these two teams together somehow. No one is better at doing this than Larry Hama. And he actually comes up with a pretty good excuse for the two of them to essentially enter the same military base, which has some kind of super soldier program happening in it that they need to infiltrate from opposite sides.
Doing things.
Yeah, from opposite sides of the military base. So like this one's coming from this direction, this one's coming from this direction, and then they're going to meet in the middle and have a misunderstanding. But then they're going to team up. And it turns out the Mystique is there and Omega Red is there. And
Here's the thing. Larry Hama is just like, okay, so military. So Omega Red can be a guy from Cobra. That's fine. Mystique can be Baroness. Like, I'm just,
it's pretty
I
much.
can do that. I can do that. I can do
Yes.
this. I can. What are who's Team 7? They're all interchangeable? Great. I've been doing action figure comics for my entire life. I can do this.
Yeah. It works.
I do find Sabretooth and Wolverine and Maverick charming.
Mhm.
It may be because I know those characters, but
Is
I can
it
also
because-
recognize which characters are which, and I can't recognize a single member of Team 7.
I think that this is a Team 7 problem in general, like when you go back, because even in those Weisenfeld books that I was talking about earlier, it is kind of hard to tell them apart because they don't have distinguishable costumes or anything
Why
like that at
does
this point.
James Lee, why did you... Grifter's an incredible character in the fact that he wears the Grifter mask.
Yeah.
It's a bandana. Why is he not just wearing a bandana around his neck so we know, oh, at some point in the future, he's going to pull that up and that's going to be Grifter? That's
I don't
all you
know.
need to do.
At least
That tells you
Deathblow,
who's the important character.
yeah, at least Deathblow looks like Deathblow and he's like a giant. So you get that. But back to your point about it liking Team X, I do think it's really fun that Sabretooth spends a pretty large chunk of this book just butt naked. Because he has to like
do that.
defeat some infrared sensors or something. And gets
don't
sprayed
remember
down.
the logic to get Sabretooth just cheeks out.
But they're just
But
dragging
Steve
his naked
Stink.
body around. It's really funny.
It is good. Larry understood that this is dumb comics, and Larry is very good at doing a dumb comic. I feel like this is something that is missing with comics in general today, and it really stopped a little bit after the 90s. There's not folks who are in for a paycheck. Like, and I'm not saying that Larry Hama was phoning this in, but no one who is doing comics today is like the guys in the 60s who were just like checking in, doing the work, getting out there, but had enough confidence in themselves. Like, well, I'm going to make these stupid things better. Like, I'm going to do the best I can with whatever dumb children's toy I have in front of me. We miss that these days. I really feel like people get so enamored. Like, no one does comics unless they love one of two companies specifically. And I miss that because there is a level of comfort in the workmanship that comes from this comic.
Yeah. And it's dumb. Even with Epting and Jansen on art, it's, the art's kind of just okay.
It's not the best Steve Epting's ever going to get.
No, it's not like Klaus Janson at his height, but it's still a good Larry Hama joint. So if you like a Larry Hama GI Joe comic, you probably will enjoy this. I will say I don't think this is as good as at 817 Wildcats X-Men. I think that has higher highs.
Wildcats X-Men has higher highs. I'm not going to disagree with anyone on that. Sorry,
How do you feel about it compared to 834 Cyber Force X-Men? A very visually sumptuous book that gets right to the point.
This is better than Cyber Force X-Men.
Okay.
Cyber Force X-Men is nonsense. There's a beginning, middle, and end to this story. There's twists in it.
That's true.
They aren't great twists, but they're like, I got 48 pages. What do you want me to do here? Kind of twists.
Yeah.
And I'm happy with that. I would say this is better than Return of Wolverine at 825.
Agreed.
Probably worse than Gen X, Gen 13.
Yeah, that's at 819. How do you feel about it compared to Days of Future Present at 822?
I'm a notorious Days of Future Present hater, and I just
Yeah.
like that one issue where Rachel has that good hat.
Such a good hat. Such a good Art Adams issue.
She looks like the Hamburglar.
She sure does. I don't remember what happens in Excalibur 31. That's at 821.
See, this is why I like doing this podcast with you. Because, Adam, how many other people on Earth would I be like, yeah, you remember that time Rachel looked like the Hamburglar? And then you're like, yes, I know the exact panel. We're saying that because I believe she is eating a hamburger in that page.
All right, Excalibur 31,
Excalibur 31 is
the Krakoa issue.
Yeah,
with
the
Nightcrawler.
Vega Man. This is worse than that, but better than Days of Future Present.
All right, so this is our new 822. This is Team X / Team 7. Zach, we've got one more intercompany Wolverine crossover here, and this last one is a doozy. I am so sorry. When I came up with this concept on our ideas page, I just kind of like threw some stuff down. And if I had really known what this was, I might not have put it down. But
no, I think we should. I think this is good. It's Wolverine She, Dark Knight of Judgment.
And Wolverine She, Judgment Knight.
Yeah, okay. So, Adam, you were someone who had at least read a Wizard magazine in the past.
Sure.
Yeah. What was your connection, your relationship with William Tucci's She?
I mean,
Seiichi. It's the Japanese word for death.
At best, I was aware of She, which is spelled Shi. You would see ads for it in Wizard or Hero, or maybe see like a promotional item here and there. I do recall actually, I think Billy Tucci might have actually been at New York Comic Con this past weekend, because I did see somebody with a whole mess of.
Didn't talk stuff. To William Tucci.
Well, I'm not sure. I don't know what he looks like, so it could have been him. It was the same table that Liefeld does his stuff at, and I was like, I don't know.
I want you to picture what you think. Adam, I know you don't know. I want you to picture what you think Billy Tucci looks like.
All right.
Do you have it in your head?
All right, I'm looking this up.
I've got the exact picture for you.
Oh.
That I want you to know. I don't want a recent Tucci.
I just looked at him on Wikipedia. He just looks like kind of a normal guy.
Look at the picture I just sent you of the Tucci right there.
All right, here we go.
Does he not look like a guy whose name would be Billy Tucci?
Yes, he does. See, this picture, his hair is longer. He's got a bit of a fuzzy 90s cut. That's great.
Yeah, he's a Billy Tucci right there. So She was a bad girl comic.
Yes.
It was a subgenre, I will say generously, in the early 90s, really kicked off really popularized by about 3 comics. Vampirella, which recently came back, and Vampirella had a following before this, but I forget what imprint brought her back, but someone else brought Vampirella back. At the same time, you had Billy Tucci's She, which was an independent comic through Tucci's Crusader Comics, which we're gonna get into some Billy Tucci lore in a second.
Ooh, lore.
You're not gonna be happy with it.
Okay. I mean, I'm not happy with the comic, so
yeah, fair, actually reasonable. And then Lady Death was probably the other big one. Yeah. And I can think of 3 large round reasons why these comics were popular and why you saw them a lot.
3? What's the math on this?
1, 2, 3.
Wait, are you okay? Wait, so Zach just gestured to his non-existent breast and butt,
right?
So is the third orb a butt?
There's 2.
There's 2 butt cheeks. What is this gesture?
Okay, hold on. This is an appropriate conversation for bad girl comics. So I think if we're counting, I feel like you would count each individual breast as a separate item. where I
for
do
these artists, first of all, I mean, each breast is its own breast, but I mean, these are
exactly where
artists
I
that
do
are
feel like
bowling ball sized things dangling off of people's anatomy. Now
the
Zach is
butt's all
feeling
one.
his
The butt's
behind.
all one. The butt is
All one? No.
the butt.
What?
Yes, the butt is.
The butt is all one?
Yes. No,
There's
I
two
actually feel
cheeks.
no, but okay. The butt lacks the same separation that the sternum provides from a muscular standpoint.
Interesting. I don't
The
know.
butt, the
Zach.
butt, every
How does
butt,
I feel like
every
your butt
butt
works different
collapses
than
upon
butts.
itself. No, every butt collapses upon itself,
What?
and
Collapses upon itself.
yes, like it's imploding. It's imploding, and there is a I'm not going to get crude, but there is a central point of the singular butt. That's the difference. That's the difference is that the butt is connected. It is knotted off, if you would.
I think butts have cleavage, and that artists of
No
this
one's saying that
caliber.
butts don't. Hold on, no one's saying butts don't have cleavage. I'm
You
just
are.
saying.
You're saying they just
No.
merge into a unibutt.
I am saying you would not say, "Man, your butts are looking good," but you would say your breasts are looking good. Again, likely to a partner that you are in a committed relationship, and you can say that kind of stuff too. But you would not. No, I'm right here. Hold on, I'm not in trouble.
I didn't say you were in trouble. I'm thinking.
Butt is a singular thing.
I'm just laughing at this because the way you were like holding up your make believe ones, it was very funny.
Well,
anyway,
here's the thing.
You're absolutely right. These are
I've been
artists.
in my workout era. I am very cognizant of my pecs at this point.
So strong.
That's a bicep. That's the pecs are these ones.
These guys.
Yeah, these ones right here.
Those. Yeah,
no, I'm getting them. It's
get it, buddy.
Folks. If you haven't seen me, that's normal. I'm a voice. But the werewolf has been doing some work on the machine that is Zach. Anyway, Billy Tucci, she's a ninja girl.
Yeah, she's like a riff on a Psylocke, essentially. And
she again,
what Psylocke? I mean, what
she does stuff.
Yeah, what she is kind of meaningless because we've got this white guy drawing this horny art of some Asian geisha ninja lady.
Not justifying it, not approving of it, just not surprised by it either. It is, I believe we've made this distinction on the show before. It is not good, but not good in ways that were incredibly normal at that time. So it wasn't uniquely bad. How about that?
Sure. This is part of a larger trend.
Oh, yeah. I mean, here's the thing. You think that, and I'm forgetting her name. What's the lady's name from Wildcats? The lady, the lady.
Zealot.
You think that Zealot wasn't tied into some of these ideas? Evangeline.
Of course. Witchblade.
What other bad girls can we think of? Witchblade, obviously.
Yeah.
Witchblade's absolutely a bad girl comic.
Jim Balance Catwoman was definitely part of this,
yeah. Because Balance has his own
the tarot whatever. What is that? What is that guy's name?
Tarot Witch of the Black Rose, yes.
Yeah, tarot. Yeah.
Folks, oof. I've never read Tarot Witch of the Black Rose. In fact, I've only seen one panel. It's the same panel that you've seen. It's the one about Samantha Brown having to get out of Hey, don't Google Tarot Witch of the Black Rose. I had forgotten what she looks like. That's insane.
Yeah, definitely don't Google that at work. Here's the important thing that you need to know about Billy Tucci is that it's really badly drawn.
It's not good, right?
It's not good.
He was an artistic talent?
I don't know. And then two, the story of these 2/3 comics, we'll get into that in a second, is very bad. But also, the story's not that different than Deathblow Wolverine or that Akira Yoshida comic.
It's not Soul Taker.
It's not.
Which I'm gonna. Here's what I'll say.
They're all
It's
the
just telling me that CV, you didn't have to do that. CV, they were letting you do they were letting folks just do that comic.
Yeah. Now, Zach, before we
things.
get into it, though, I do want to point out one thing, because
Yeah,
you are pointing to this as sort of like an early 90s phenomenon. What really struck me as crazy about this is that these comic books we're talking about came out in 2000. I was shocked by that.
I was, until I put it into context. So, Billy Tucci's Crusaders comics.
Yes.
It's an independent press. It is Billy Tucci's comics for Billy Tucci. Great for that. If that's what you're into. It's Crusaders, Billy Tucci's Crusaders comics. It's Crusaders as in the Catholic ones. With everything that comes along with that baggage.
Weird.
It is weird. Billy Tucci is open. He has the politics that you think that he would have. Like,
oh no. Okay.
Yeah,
that's not good.
No, like that's like he funds his comic books on Indiegogo, not Kickstarter, if that tells you anything.
Okay.
So he's not exactly like a powerhouse in the comic scene. Like, he's a guy who has carved out his own little brand of essentially pinups of a hot Asian lady.
Sure.
And good for him. That's his thing. Now, why is Marvel Comics allowing Wolverine to be like tied into that? Wildstorm makes sense. That was hot. That was big. A lot of these, Star Trek, great. Makes sense for crossover. This is probably the most bizarre crossover to happen, and also the most like low rent. And then I remembered, right, Marvel was about to do second bankruptcy right now. Like, they were, this was, if you want to know how bad things were in about 1999, 2000, before Ultimate Universe and Quesada and Bill Jemas kind of came in and saved that company, it's Wolverine She, a comic that is drawn poorly and lettered worse.
Well, he's basically using like Microsoft Paint, it feels like, to letter this thing. Like, it is some of the most pixelated. Yeah, it's really bad computer font lettering throughout this. There is no letterer credited to this comic.
Out of 10, it was Billy Tucci.
Yeah. And
which, by the way, Billy, if you went to art school, they taught you how to hand letter. You could have given it a shot.
Maybe.
You have Wolverine in your comic. You're gonna let the number one thing that any pro will tell you on what is the first surefire sign of, is this comic like up to snuff or not? Is it good? Is the lettering good? Like, is the lettering bare minimum decent? Everyone will tell you, like, lettering's the first thing that you see, because if they didn't put any effort into the lettering, then everything else is going to be crap. And you can kind of ignore it, because 99 times out of 1,000, you're right. There's not a hidden gem in here that they just, for some reason, couldn't get lettered in time.
No, I mean, the lettering is like falling out of the balloons. It's got typos. It's clearly a font. It's terrible. Anyway, but what's also terrible is the way it's drawn. So you would think that Billy Tucci would have a really strong sense of female anatomy, given that he's drawing these like supposed, cheesecake lady drawings of she all the time. Actually, no, he has very limited control over anatomy. He really doesn't know how to draw the human body. And you would think that if
very
Wolverine
Liefeld school, just in terms of that approach to anatomy, not necessarily in his actual style.
No,
but it is
in terms of like, where are the organs? How does this connect to this part?
It's that same mindset of, well, that doesn't matter. Just make it look cool. Yeah. And here's the thing: the biggest difference between when someone like the Rob does that, or someone like, I'll say, Whilce Portacio does that, or Jim Lee does that, is that they're working from a framework of, I know what the rules of anatomy are, and I know when I can break them. And guys like Billy Tucci or Rob Liefeld either don't or don't care.
Yeah. What's worse is that his Wolverine is off model, looks terrible. His mask keeps coming off and being put back on. The plot is very non-existent, and
They
the majority of it,
They have to fight in Tokyo.
the majority of the plot is described in a very difficult to read scroll on a inside cover page that tells you all about the fact that the two of these characters have been like the spokes fighters for their own, I guess, warring clans of ghosts or something like that. And whoever wins, their ghosts get to like, none of this is in the comic proper. It's just in a very poorly laid out, very bad typography page that tells you about this stuff. And so what you get in, let's just say Dark Knight Judgment, which no idea why it's called that, is just an excuse for the two of them to have a quote unquote fight scene.
But it is a comic.
Sure. Now,
there is sequential art. There are panels. This is surefire comics. Not a good one. It's a comic.
But where it gets more confusing is in Judgment Night, which is a 2-pack of comics. One has She on the cover. The other has Wolverine on the cover. They are connecting covers. How would you describe this? Because it's like half a comic and then half one of the most cockamamie schemes I have ever seen put to print.
Now, here's what I'll describe it. I'm going to describe it in terms that our listenership will know.
Yes.
You remember how in Hickman's New Mutants, there is a big battle scene and it turned out to be a data page with like a D6 choose your own adventure type thing.
And it was funny.
I didn't love it at the time. I appreciate it now. The reason why that can work is because it knows that you're reading a comic. You're not actually going to stop to play this game, but it does need to be complete enough that you can understand it just by reading it once. You get the game. Vita Ayala did something very similar in their contribution to the Horizon experiment last year. It's contained in like a page where you get it, you get the bit. Oh, that's an interesting concept. And then you go on with your life.
Yeah. So for folks who aren't following along, this second issue, which is 2 separate issues that you had to buy together, has the same first half of content, which is just more of She fighting Wolverine in a street. But halfway through the comic just stops and says, well, who are we, the authors of this comic, to judge who wins this fight? Surely you must decide. And no, we're not going to have a vote. There is an actual, like, very complicated battle tabletop game that you are supposed to play using these 2 side-by-side comics with a friend. So each one of you is supposed to be one of these characters and use the second half of this issue, which is basically just like pictures of She doing something or pictures of Wolverine in the other issue doing something. And it's either a hit or a block. And I guess depending on, I mean, the rules are incredibly convoluted. I can't believe that anyone actually bought both of these comics and played this game. If someone did, I would love to know.
The rules are a combination of a choosable path adventure game and a Dungeons and Dragons fight scene.
Yes.
So not only are there multiple paths that you're going down, but you're like keeping score and keeping track of everything. I looked at this and I said, a funny idea would be for me and Adam to do this live on the show. And then I read it again and I said, nope, no one will. It's so, I can't understand this thing. And I'm not spending the time on Wolverine and She, the Asian ninja character that Billy Tucci created. Do you know what? I haven't told you this, but I have to make sure that this gets talked about.
Yeah.
And we will go back to it. You know what She's big conflict is?
I don't know
Like
anything about she.
her
This doesn't.
internal struggle. Do you know what?
No.
Do you know what she is grappling with on a day-to-day basis?
No. What's she up to?
It's she trying to come to terms with the fact that she is half Asian, which interesting topic. Plenty of really good comics have been about this. Billy Tucci's writing this, so let's just assume in good faith that I'm not saying that y'all know what I'm doing here. Okay. She's half Asian, half Japanese, and dealing with a very violent Orientalist martial artist type approach on that one. The other half is Catholic.
Okay.
It's her dealing with being Catholic and like, I don't know. So this is like, when I say Crusader comics, I mean like, does want you to convert into the blessing of Jesus Christ. And if she can be the vessel to deliver Christ and the love of Christ into your life, Billy Tucci's going to make sure that she does that.
God, you would never know any of that from this crap. I mean, this is.
I don't know. Just to be clear, you think I did a close read of She? I did read Wizard Magazine articles. I read a lot of Wizard Magazine articles for this. Did not read a single actual issue of She to get this information.
There's not a lot.
Wizard thought it was a good thing.
Yeah, there's not a lot to read here, and what is here is largely illegible. Either through what we described already in terms of the bad art, the terrible typography, the bad lettering, and the fact that the story doesn't even have like an end. It just turns into a tabletop game. So
here's what I'll say.
This is really bad.
It is bad. If Al Ewing pulled this stunt on us, I think we would like it better, but I also think Al Ewing would do it better. Like, I am not fully against the concept.
No, but it's so poorly executed.
Oh, like, it's just, it's like when you do a rhyming issue of a comic, you probably shouldn't do it to begin with, number one. But if you mess that up, and everyone has, then, I mean, it's true. Name one good rhyming issue of a comic. You can't. It's impossible. Never happened. When you mess that up, it's so obvious that it ruins the whole thing, and it makes it worse than if you just didn't do that at all. It's the fact that it's a bad girl comic, and here's... People like to get up about how, like, about 10 years ago, they started putting pants and, like, jackets on female characters, and some Billy Tucci-like and people went crazy about it.
Not surprising.
It's not surprising. Well, it's because, like, these bad girl comics, this was the... Say what you will about superhero art. This was all of the worst cheesecake superhero art turned up to 10 without even the pretension of a story behind it. Like, it was very much... No one's buying Lady Death to do anything except for go evil Ernie mode on it. Like, that's what these comics were for. And they knew that at the time. Wizard Magazine is asking these creators, hey, this is a little sexist. And if Wizard Magazine in the early 90s is able to point at it and say, we're picking up on some things that are not optimal.
Yeah.
About these strong female characters.
Yeah, when the sexist comic magazine asks you if your comic is sexist, I'm all the way at the bottom of the list here, man. I'm all the way at the bottom. I think this is worse than X Nation 2099 at 1080.
Oh, yeah. I don't... Wait. Yeah, that one has... Also a Catholic comic, now that we talk about it. A better one, though, because that does have Battle Nuns. Battle Nun... T.D. Howard has a Battle Nun comic out now. Like,
have you read Marian Heretic?
I have not read Marian Heretic.
Check it out, man.
I don't read singles. Like,
okay, when it comes out in trade or whatever, you're gonna check it out.
I will. I text people after something came out in trade and like, hey, I really liked this. Good job. And they're like, yeah, that was a year ago. Sorry, I have 3 kids. I can't even record a podcast every week because of them. This is really bad, though. This is worse than X Nation 2099. You have Phoenix Resurrection 1995 highlighted.
Yeah, that's also a company crossover, but I think it's better than this. I don't think this is as bad as Phoenix Legacy of Fire, though, at 1082.
I want to reread X-Men Phoenix Legacy of Fire so bad.
Man,
I know
I
I
don't
could
think
do
you should
it.
say that. I think people could isolate that as an audio clip and just
They could, but I'm a historian. This is very much I need to do this for like it's been a decade. If I'm going to keep talking about this comic, I need to like remember, yes, this is terrible. Here's what scares me about X-Men Phoenix Legacy of Fire. This is not a joke.
yeah.
Marvel Rivals could go full Gooner mode with that.
They would never. Come on.
Bud, you think they wouldn't? Did you see what they do to everything? They brought back the Malice costume.
Yeah.
You know, the Fantastic Four Malice costume with the 4 cutout?
Yeah.
Sue Storm's Girl era?
Pretty sure that's coming back in the comics too.
Well, yes, you have to because Marvel Rivals is huge.
Yeah.
Marvel Rivals could easily be like, this is perfect for our Jean. This is a new costume for Jean. And then we'd have to deal with this. We would have to live and experience. And I need to be ready, Adam. That's the thing. If they do it, and there's a non-zero chance.
Okay.
This is worse. This is better than X-Men Phoenix Legacy of Fire. I will say that this should be our new 1082.
All right, great. Absolute garbage trash comics.
Man, we did
do not check that out.
Oh, I do want to read all of Billy Tucci's She now.
No, you don't.
Is it?
Don't
do you think it's all lettered like that?
I'm sure it all looks exactly like this, and like it's like photocopied in somebody's like church basement or something.
Me and our friend Rob Secundus is going to do a podcast all about Billy Tucci's She, where one of us is the Catholic side of her, and one of us is, I guess, the Japanese warrior samurai side.
Do that part. No,
you can say which one of us would be.
You're
Rob
both white guys. All right.
Rob would be the Catholic one. Rob would be the Catholic one. Let's be fair. Friend of the show, Rob Secundus would be the Catholic side of She.
He's going to be delighted when he hears this episode, which we finally recorded, Zach. I'm so excited.
I'm sure other people will also be delighted because I don't think everyone on this show like has the same parasocial relationship that I've had with some podcast hosts. But sometimes I also think of my podcast hosts like Friends Network as an extended part of my Friends Network. Yeah, so I think the general jokes about Rob are appropriate for this.
Sure.
He's been on the show.
Yeah. Love that.
I don't know why I'm justifying jokes like this. If people don't like it, they can not listen. It's fine. Adam, this was great. What are you up to?
I think we're still doing X coverage, even though it's the Age of Revelation. So keep checking that out on Comics XF.
You can stop whenever you want, buddy. I'm just
Dan
telling
and
you.
I did a nice New York Comic Con wrap up, which check that out, and follow me on social, Adam Rec on Blue Sky and Instagrams. Zach, because it's been so long, I think next week is already Halloween, isn't it?
It's already Halloween next week.
Wow.
So next week we are going to have a spook 'em up.
Yeah.
There's no two ways around it. It's gonna be a world-class spook 'em up. The dead rise. The dead rise. In a very Christian Catholic tradition right there. Very, very All Hallows Eve. No. Again, I'm right. I'm right about
It's your outro. I'm not arguing with you.
There's zombies Old and New Testament, buddy. Dem dry bones.
You're just arguing with yourself. I'm just sitting here.
Look, folks, we've had some times. Thank you. I will say before we finish, so glad that people tolerate this silly, fun podcast that we get to do. Y'all the best. And until next time, folks, this has been Battle of the Atom. We hope you survive the experience.
Get it!